Hi guys, welcome to the vlog. It's a nice Sunday morning over here and I hope you guys are enjoying your weekend. So in today's vlog, we'll discuss a little about your overall GMAT prep strategy. I get this question from a lot of students who ask me how they should structure their GMAT prep. So I'll address that in today's vlog. What I suggest is you divide your entire prep into 3 stages, right? The first of which is what I call the accuracy stage. Understand at the beginning that the GMAT is a standardized test, which means it is going to be testing you on the same thing over and over again. Nothing changes on the GMAT. You will read these urban legends on various forums that the GMAT is now testing you on more difficult questions and testing you more on meaning and testing you more on some complex probability concepts, all of which are just urban legends, as I said, none of which is true. So nothing has changed. In the last decade, it's exactly the same test. And that's the knowledge that you have to use to your advantage. So in the accuracy stage, what you basically do is you go through all your concepts. So let's say you start with sentence correction. You go through a good book or a good tutor who can take you through all the concepts tested in SC on the GMAT. Similarly, you can approach critical reasoning, reading comprehension, math, PHDS. So all you're doing in the first stage is you are working on your concepts, getting all your basic concepts in place, and the accuracy part of it, which is you will practice questions from the OG. So get your hand on the latest OG. I think 2017 is the latest one. And once you've completed the concepts of a particular question type, let's say sentence correction, you start practicing questions from the OG. Similarly, you approach reasoning and RC and everything. Your goal basically, by the time you finish the entire OG, is to be at an accuracy of around 75 to 80%. That is why I call the accuracy stage. No 60%, no 65%, 75 or more. The higher the better. And how do you ensure that you get that accuracy? So you go through your error logs. So once you've done, let's say, 60 questions, which is midway through each chapter of English, go through your error log and see what mistakes you've made. And whether you can see some kind of a trend in the mistakes you're making. Maybe some particular error type or question type that you're struggling with. Work on those and then continue with the remaining questions. But your goal is, by the time you are done with the OG, your accuracy in each question type should be around 75-80%. And in this stage, you're not bothered about timing. Don't mix up the two. Time management is your next stage. In this stage, all I'm focusing on is accuracy. Because once your accuracy becomes good, once you become conversant with all the different question types that come on the GMAT, your timing will automatically improve. When you are tested on a similar concept a third or a fourth time, you can do it much faster than the first or the second time. So timing will automatically improve, but first get your accuracy up to speed. So that's your first stage, should take you around 6 weeks. I think 4 to 6 weeks should be good enough to complete this stage. And at the end of the stage, you would be done with your OG, the main OG. Then comes the second stage, where you work on your time. So far, we were only focusing on accuracy. Now let's see what happens to the accuracy when you start timing yourself. And so you practice time management by individual question type. Don't mix it up. So you will practice only sentence correction, say 16 questions that you have to finish in 24 minutes. That's 1.5 minutes for a question. Ideally, it should be a little less. But let's say I'll be nice and I'll give you 1.5 minutes. This stage will also help rid you of any bad habits that you may have developed. For example, when you practice sentence correction, you realize that in 24 minutes you can't do 16 questions. You can only do 12 questions, 2 minutes for a question. That could be because you've gotten the habit of reading all the options completely. You're not doing any splits, which is what you must do. So this will take care of that bad habit. So similarly, if there are other bad habits, you will have to get rid of them. Otherwise, your timing will not improve. If your timing does not improve, you can't complete the test. If you can't complete the test, you will not get a good score. No chance. So the second stage is when you work on your time management. So students ask me, where should we attempt these questions from for the time management stage? Well, you can either use the other OGs. There are two more, as you know, the verbal review and the quant review. You can use those. You can also use our books now, or any other books you're referring to. In fact, one of the problems with using the OG will be the fact that the OG questions are arranged in increasing order of difficulty. You guys know that. So then what will happen is you will be able to do the initial questions faster, but the latter questions will take you more time. If you practice from, let's say, the SC grade or the CR grade, now our question bank is all mixed up. So it's actually a better idea to use these books in the time management stage. In fact, I would like to make a special mention of the RC grade over here. Because when it comes to reading comprehension, the OG is a terrible resource to practice timed reading comprehension. I mean, it's a great resource to practice reading comprehension, of course. But to practice them timed, the OG is a terrible resource because the OG passages have a lot of questions. A lot of the passages have 5, 6, 7, 8 questions. That's too many questions. On the actual exam, you know, from each RC passage, you will only get between 3 and 4 questions. That's it. So when you have to attempt 7 questions or 8 questions from a passage, you obviously can't stick to your suggested time. So by all means, you must practice RCs from the OG because the OG is the most representative material. I keep repeating myself. But for time management, use a book like the RC Grail. In the RC Grail, we have 60 passages, 3 to 4 questions from each passage. It's the most representative material you can get. So anyway, that's basically your second stage. At the end of the second stage, hopefully, your timing in individual sections will be up to speed. And this stage should take you, I think, 3 weeks. I think it's good enough. Then you move to the last stage, which is your full-length test stage. See, there's no practice like a full-length test. You might have done very well in the OG. You might have fared very well when you did the timed section test. It may not translate into a good score on a full-length test. It's a completely different animal, if you ask me. And the only way to get better at it is to practice or take a lot of tests. A good number, if you ask me, that you should look at is around a dozen tests, 12 of them. And spread them over a month maybe. So every 2 or 3 days you should take a full length test. And don't take these tests blind or passively. What I mean is, don't assume that just by taking the tests your score will magically go up. Nothing will change. What you must do is, after you've taken a test, you must analyze the test. And after you analyze the test, I want you to have 3 or 4 things written down that you will try to apply on the next test. That's very, very, very important. It's a strategy game at the end. If you've noticed that in my current test, I was struggling with, let's say, coordinate geometry questions. I took 4 minutes for each question and I still got them wrong. Or even got them right, but I took too much time. My target for the next test is, if I get a coordinate geometry question and I can't finish it in 2 minutes or 2.5 minutes, I will skip it, come what may. That's a strategy. It's a strategy thing. Similarly, you may realize that on sentence correction, there are certain questions on which I took too much time. So then maybe you were not doing splits on those questions. Maybe you were reading more than you should have. All this analysis you can do after your test, and you must do it. Keep in mind, the GMAT is not an intelligence test, it's an aptitude test, and with the right strategy you can crack it, even if you're not very, very intelligent. So don't worry about that. And so in the last stage of your prep, you must focus a lot on your test taking strategy. If you basically learn something in every test and apply it on the next one, by the time you are done with 10 or 12 tests, you will have a very good strategy of what is working for you and what is not working for you, which you can apply on the actual test then. So that should be your third stage of preparation. In the third stage, you can do one more thing, which is practice a few high difficulty questions. Assuming you are doing well in your practice test, it would be a good idea to try a few high difficulty questions, because that's the only way you can score high on the GMAT. Even if you get to the high difficulty question and get it wrong, you will get a good score, but you must get there. So in the last stage of your preparation, it might be a good idea to refer to some resource for exclusively high difficulty questions. What those resources should be, we'll discuss in a different vlog. But just to recap for you, Your entire GMAT prep can be structured in 3 stages. The accuracy stage, when you when you work on your concepts and practice questions from the OG. The second stage is your time management stage, when you take timed section tests. And the third and the last stage is your full length test stage, when you take a lot of full length tests and you also practice some high difficulty questions along with these. The entire thing should take you, I think, if you consistently practice, should take you around 3.5-4 months and you will be done. And that I think is a good time for your prep. Between 3 and 4 months is enough time for whatever to happen to happen. So I hope you guys found this vlog informative, and I shall see you guys tomorrow. Enjoy your Sunday. Bye bye.